I sent Winona and Gina down to Brenda's to be measured. These days, everyone treats actors so preciously, but I generally don't like to work on films that have a dresser for that star because it gets so fucked up. I just said, here's the address. Can you go down there and see this woman? I didn't want to go.
Oh, that is a weird quote.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Costume Blogcast. I'm Elizabeth Joy Glass.
And I can't say my name, but if you say it 3 times, I will do this podcast with you.
Sure, Spencer. You know what, Spencer? I actually have something I want to discuss with you.
One more time.
I heard something funny last week.
Uh-oh, what's up?
When I was listening to the White Lotus episode. I didn't quite recognize who you got to do that interview. It was a lord of some sort.
Yeah, that's me, Lord Spencer. Elizabeth, you can't leave me alone with our guest.
I wonder why you just continue this delusion, Spencer.
What's up, Elizabeth? We haven't seen each other in a long ass time.
I know. I visited my sister up in Maine, and we actually didn't do a lot of Maine-y things because it was really hot.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping we'd go to the beach or because they live in Portland. So I was like, we'll go to the beach. And then we got up there and it was just so freaking hot.
Yeah, gross.
My sister was like, no, we're not doing that. Her fiance was like, no, it's too hot. And they have animals and stuff. And he kept being like, I can't leave the chickens alone.
Yeah.
Because they're apparently very fragile creatures, chickens.
I relate.
Yeah, I did get to eat a lot of good food though, and I bought overpriced spices and salts and a dessert wine.
Ooh.
That actually the dessert wine was not overpriced. But I definitely bought overpriced salt.
And you celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday,
I did.
Elizabeth.
Thank you. I know.
Did he go out clubbing or anything?
No, I worked.
Oh.
I worked. Everyone at my job was like, why are you here? And I was like, I just took off a very long weekend. I need money.
Yeah. The listeners, they hear us every week, but, we actually haven't seen each other in a long time, but so many things seem to have gone by since we last talked. You did that amazing interview with Danny Glicker from Angeline, which was so good. So good. I loved it, Elizabeth.
That was such a fun interview. He's amazing to talk to. And you can tell how much he loves his job and what he does.
Right.
It was fantastic.
I did the White Lotus interview. We talked about Nope also, which was crazy.
Oh my gosh, Nope is wild. And your interviews were incredible. And I'm I can't believe both of those were done by the same person.
It's insane. One right after the other. That sounds so crazy. I don't know.
Right.
And yeah, so much happened. So many designers. I did a Hacks interview. I did a Witcher interview.
You've done a lot.
Yeah, the Bullet Train, which may or may not be out yet. I don't know. But so much. It feels like we haven't talked in months.
I know. It does feel like we haven't talked in months, but
it's almost like we died.
I know. It's almost like we died. We died in each other's lives for a hot second. Oh my gosh, that sounded so dramatic, but appropriate because we are about to enjoy the company of some very dramatic characters. Spencer, what did we watch this week?
This week, we watched one of my all-time favorite films, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this movie since we started a podcast, honestly.
I think you did suggest it the first season. And this is one of those movies that I didn't see until I was I think in college.
Really?
Yeah. Cause it was I think it fell under the scary, creepy movies I wasn't allowed to watch.
Right.
And so it was fun. I had only seen it once before, so it was fun to watch it again and like really take it in.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of creepy, actually. I went back and watched it, last night. And it explains why I was so messed up as a kid, I guess.
It is scary. And like, I forgot a lot about it. I think I had just like a lot of like assumptions about it. Like, I forgot how like confused the couple is at first.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember I'm like, it's just these two ghosts who get pissed off that they're ghosts and someone else is living in their house. I forgot all like the nuances and like I forgot about their caseworker. Like, she was incredible.
Yes, I love her. It's a really well written story, actually, and I'm just really excited to talk about it.
I am too. Spencer, do you want to hit us with that summary?
I would love nothing more. Adam and Barbara's not-so-peaceful afterlife turned deadly when they summoned the mysterious Beetlejuice in an attempt to haunt their home's new residents into leaving. And that is Beetlejuice.
That is Beetlejuice. If you haven't seen it, guys, we're entering spooky season. This is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, get to it. Get to work.
Get to it, and then get behind the wardrobe with us. We have the incredible director, Tim Burton, one of our favorites. And we also have another favorite, although we have not talked about her on the podcast before, Aggie Rodgers. You will know her from American Graffiti, Star Wars Episode 4, Return of the Jedi. Is that, or is it Episode 5? I'll be honest, the Roman numerals always throw me off with those movies. 6?
Yeah, that's 6.
Oops. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Whoa.
The color purple, for which she got her Oscar nomination. The Witches of Eastwick, yes. Fatal Beauty, Holes, and Rent.
So many good ones.
And I think I only found one or two interviews where she talked about Beetlejuice in particular, and she just seems like such a like fun character. And so, like I said, there's not like a ton of information, but she has done some interviews, and she said to Elle about Beetlejuice, people were not completely, totally aware of how wild it was going to be. Which, it's like, no duh. And then last night, I watched like a short little interview with Michael Keaton, and he talked to Tim Burton like 3 or 4 times because like, he was like, I really liked Tim Burton, but he was like, I just did not understand like what he wanted from me. Michael Keaton was like, I just didn't know, and then I eventually just came up with something. Right. And Tim Burton was like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. That sounds like Tim Burton, honestly. And I wonder, this is before or after Michael Keaton did Batman with Tim Burton? I think this is after.
No, I think this is before.
Really?
Because this is, hold on, let me double check, because I'm bad with dates.
Oh, yeah, 89. So he did Beetlejuice first.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So he did Beetlejuice first. I clearly was like, yeah, this dude's nuts, but I'll give it another go. It's Batman. How crazy can it get?
Yeah, you can't get too crazy, but like clearly, like he really liked Tim Burton. So he was like, apparently it seems like Tim Burton's just like a nice guy. So everyone's always like, yeah, I'll work with him. And
I mean, Aggie also did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I'm telling you, Elizabeth,
your favorite.
We're doing it next season. Like, it's just that's one of those ones that I'm not gonna give up on. Okay,
how about we'll do it for your birthday?
That would be fun.
I will do what I really want for my birthday. Next year. Anyway, Spencer, are you ready for a little nappy nap before we get this started?
Yep, I'm gonna go read my rule book for dead people and prepare.
Yeah, everybody, take a little rest before we enter Beetlejuice. Hello, Blogcast listeners. It's Elizabeth Joy Glass, co-host and producer of the Art of Costume Blogcast. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate all your support. If you wanted to continue your support, you can now become one of our costume mavens when you become our patron at patreon.com/theartofcostume. There we post unheard bloopers, highlights, and you can even catch our monthly bonus episodes for patrons only. Make sure to check out the description for a link to our Patreon. Spencer!
What's up?
I actually don't know.
I ready to talk about Beetlejuice, Elizabeth.
Oh my gosh, I said that and my brain just was like, nope.
We have our main characters, Adam and Barbara, played by Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis.
I had forgotten this was Alec Baldwin.
Yes, it's so funny you say that. Every single time I watch this, and I have to retrain my brain to be like, that's Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. It's like, I vaguely remembered him. And then I was watching and I was like, because like the voice, I was like, wait, is that Alec Baldwin? And I looked it up on IMDb and I'm like, damn, Alec Baldwin like looks different.
Yeah.
He looks so super weird. Different. I mean, obviously he's like 20, 30 years older. So obviously he's going to look different, but it's like, he really looks different.
Yeah, he looks, I mean, to me, it look like different people. The Alec Baldwin we know today compared to that Alec Baldwin, because my memory remembers like Beetlejuice, Alec Baldwin, and then there's like a big old blank period, and then he's Cat in the Hat, Alec Baldwin, you know?
Well, I think of him as Alec Baldwin from 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Was that show? I've never watched 30 Rock, but I forget what channel it was on, but I guess we must have watched another show on it because I would always see the previews.
Yeah, it's NBC.
NBC. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, I would always see the previews for it. So, like, he's stuck in my brain as, like, that Alec Baldwin, which is very different from Beetlejuice Alec Baldwin.
But anyways, these two characters, Adam and Barbara, I love Adam's look because he just looks like such a typical, like, 80s dad.
Yeah. They both just look like 80s parents. Like, and they're, like, I'm so sad for them because they're just out here in the country living their best lives. She has this great floral, like, it's like this drop waist dress. I want to call it a muumuu, but it's definitely not a muumuu. It's got a little more style than that, but it's like they're clearly just like they're content and they're like ready to start their lives in their new beautiful home.
Right.
And they're just like the typical like all-American 80s couple.
It gives strong like prairie vibes, like with all the like wallpaper, her look, her prints are just like strong prairie vibes. But the thing about Tim Burton films though is that his, you know, the time period is always hard to pinpoint. Like this movie, you know, came out in the 80s, but I'm not sure that it takes place in the 80s. But if it does, he always makes it feel like very timeless. Kind of like timeless. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. The same with, you know, another big one is Edward Scissorhands. You know, you're like, what time period does this take place? So that's why I love Tim Burton films. Yeah.
Well, I thought until I watched it this time, I always just kind of assumed it had come out in like the early to mid 90s. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, no, this is 89.
Yeah.
But I love them. And I love that these are the looks they're stuck in.
I know.
Because they're just, when it comes to like the new residents changing their house, it just puts them so out of place.
Right.
Especially out of place compared to Lydia, Winona Ryder.
This is where my crush on Winona Ryder started, was Beetlejuice as Lydia. She's just so dreamy in this film.
She is like the goth kid we all wanted to be in middle school.
Yeah.
Like that's what she is. Like her silk shawl gave me strong flashbacks to when I had fingerless lace gloves in middle school. But the process for creating her wardrobe was a little bit different. Aggie talked about it to Elle magazine. She said, we would just go into the vintage store American Rag and start looking at the racks. It's not like we were all huddled around the same rack. Winona looked at one rack. I looked at another. Then I would say, here, try this on, try that on. Her mom and dad just stood there, and I'm sure they had never seen anything quite like that either. I had already done a lot of the other characters, so I knew the direction I wanted to go in with this goofy kid.
I am obsessed with this quote. I've never thought of something like that before, that the actress, Winona Ryder, is standing there with the costume designer and her parents as they're going through racks. That's crazy. Because
she was like 15 or 16 when they filmed this. Right. She was like super young. And I was like, yeah, we just went to American Rag and just found stuff. So her wardrobe is like secondhand and vintage.
Of course.
For the most part. And it's so incredible. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly how this very strange, rich girl would dress.
Right. I just love all of her looks. She wears the big hats. She wears veils, lots of lace and chokers. I mean, there's like so many details in her looks, but it's all in black. So you have to like really just like look at the different silhouettes on her. It's so cool. One of my favorite film characters of all time, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, because she is always wearing all black, it can be hard when you're watching it to see the details, but when you really look at it, it's like you just see more and more and more, which I love. I also love when Barbara, oh gosh, what are their names? Barbara.
Adam.
They're such generic names.
I know.
Go to the underworld. I love how put out they are about being ghosts.
It's really
I was
confusing.
Almost like, yeah. I'm like, hang on. Do you like not understand death? Like, I feel like they're kind of upset about like not going to heaven, but also it's like you're dead. Like, calm down. But my two favorite characters in the underworld are the receptionist, Miss Argentina, played by Patricia Martinez. I have to do this Halloween costume one day. I love it because it is such like a pageant look. The hair, like the collar she has behind her. But then it's like, it was perfect for her new job in the underworld because it looks like flames all around her because she is stuck in the hell of being a public servant.
Elizabeth, close your ears. Her top kind of has like a Mars Attacks pattern to her top also. There's a character in Mars Attacks called the Martian Girl, played by Lisa Marie. And she has this long red and white kind of swirly pattern dress that she so creepily walks through the hallways. It is so good. It's one of my all-time favorite costumes. I can't help but feel like the Miss Argentina look kind of inspired that costume about many years later. Mars Attacks came out in 96. So yeah, I just feel like it's kind of the same thing, even though it's not the same costume designer. But Tim Burton's vision is definitely showing through right here. You could definitely tell that his style definitely carries through all of his films.
Like, some directors do always use the same costume designers, but like, even when they love a costume designer, it's not possible to always work with the same one. So it is like really interesting to see where you can see like a director's like particular style or like quirks, likes and dislikes, and like little places like that. Because it just shows you like how important that collaboration is with the director and costume designer.
Right, exactly. That a lot of people think this is a Colleen Atwood film. It's not.
Yes, this is not one of them. Also, what is not one of her works is the look of Juno, played by Sylvia Sidney. This is very clearly like, I feel like it's like what her family put her into. Right. Like in her coffin, because it's got like the high collar to like, you know, cover up her neck. It's got like, the beautiful, I guess, like family pearls. Another like trinkety little necklace that she probably just loved. And then it's like nice black suit, which is like, that's like something a family, like you would put your family member in. But then it's also just perfect for being a caseworker. It's very like office friendly wear.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like when she might have died in the film, because her look kind of has a little bit of an 80s look, but I don't know. It could also be like
70s, I think. 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Also, she really had to think about it might be my favorite character in this movie. Delia, played by who, Spencer?
Delia is played by the icon, the legend, one of my heroes, Catherine O'Hara. I am obsessed with her. She played Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas. She's a Home Alone mom, if you love the Home Alone movies. And of course, she played Myra Rose from Schitt's Creek, one of the just best TV characters of all time. I love Catherine O'Hara, and to me, she's just like the best part of this film. I'm obsessed with her.
She's incredible, and I kind of like remembered her. I forgot she was the stepmother.
Right.
I thought she was just the mom, the very eccentric mom. And I guess some people kind of see her as like an evil stepmother, and I'm like, no, she's not an evil stepmother. She's just like eccentric and just wants to do her own thing.
Yeah, I don't see her any more evil than the dad. I actually find the dad more annoying, but
yeah,
Delia is so fun, and her fashion is intense. First of all, everyone, when Schitt's Creek came out, everyone was calling Catherine O'Hara the Home Alone mom. No, she is the Beetlejuice stepmom. Like, let's get that straight. But Catherine O'Hara's looks are so good. I love the dinner table scene where she has like the asymmetric look going, where she has like one long glove. Such a cool look.
Yes. I love how much asymmetry she actually does, because she has that look, which like I think that's her best look, the dinner party look in the whole piece. But then she also has that like silver jacket with the top hat where like it's like half off her other shoulder.
Right.
And it's just very wild and extreme. I also love, maybe this is my favorite. I don't know. It's a tie between this and the dinner party look. But when she's in the kitchen cooking and she has what I think she believes is like a housewife look. Yeah. Which is just this long sleeve white blouse that is just like so billowy. And then these wild red like drop crotch pants with suspenders.
Yeah, it's really confusing, and I love every second of it. My favorite look is when she's sitting at the table and she has the glove headpiece in her hair.
Oh my gosh.
That is such a strong look, and she's wearing gloves as well. Black and white stripes, very Tim Burton. Like just this whole, it's such a treat. Just every Catherine O'Hara moment in this film is just like art to me.
It is. It is. And I love that headpiece as well. Because Delia's just wild.
Yeah.
She is wild, and nobody actually understands Delia because she doesn't care. She's so just going to do what she wants.
It's so funny. And then, like, I love how Winona Ryder's character acts like she's the normal one and her parents are so crazy. And I'm like, look at this entire family. You are all campy and to the extreme. I don't see much of a difference between a stepmom and a daughter, you know? Right.
And I'm like, because I don't know if it's mentioned or not, but like clearly her mother died.
Right.
Because like they never referred to the mom, I don't think, but clearly her mother died. And it's like, what was your mother like? Yeah. If this is how you are and this is who your father married, who was your mother?
Right. I don't know.
Oh, but Spencer. We have the myth, the legend. We have Beetlejuice.
Oh my gosh. Michael Keaton is so incredible in this role. Every single time now I look at him and I'm like trying to find Michael Keaton underneath there. It's so hard. It's such a transformation.
You can't. It really is. And we're looking at like the classic Beetlejuice black and white striped suit. And it's like, this is so iconic because I knew this character before I ever watched the movie.
Right.
I'm just like, it is like wild and crazy and like gross, but like you want to look closer because like it's like so intricate. It's like you look at even like his tie and it has like all these little buttons down the front of it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's just like crazy. And then like I tried looking up like the hair and makeup to see if there was any like behind the scenes for those, and I couldn't find anything. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's all so like thought out and just wild.
Yeah, it's so confusing to look at, but yeah, so much detail. I love how the suit looks like really worn and kind of like broken down on him. Almost looks like he's been sweating in it, which I don't know if Beetlejuice sweats, but I don't know. It definitely like, you know, it hasn't been dry cleaned in a while is what I'm getting at. You know?
I don't think Beetlejuice does any laundry.
But like even like the collar is like a little mishapped. Yeah, it's such an iconic costume. You know, this is up there with like costumes that define a generation almost, you know?
Yeah. I've almost dressed up as Beetlejuice multiple times for Halloween.
That would be horrifying. I can't imagine that on you. I feel like that'd be really unsettling.
Well, next time you're here for Halloween, I know what I'm doing.
I have dressed up as Lydia before. I think you were there for that.
Oh my gosh, you can be... No, I wasn't.
Oh yeah, you're right. You weren't there for that.
Oh my gosh, one Halloween, you have to be Lydia. I'll be Beetlejuice. We'll do the reverse of the wedding scene.
Right. Oh my gosh, I love that idea. Let's take a break and we'll come up with some ideas.
Yes.
What's up, costume nerds? This is Spencer, co-host and producer of the Art of Costume Blogcast. I love the simple things in life. Free parking, air conditioning, and a nice comfortable hoodie. If you feel the same way, then I'm here to let you know that if you wanted to support our show, you can head over to theartofcostume.com/podstore. There you can buy awesome Blogcast merch through TeePublic, such as t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and stickers. We even have a baby onesie for all those baby costume designers out there. To get your merch, head over to theartofcostume.com/podstore. Thank you for all your support.
Spencer, are you ready for a serious haunting?
I love every part of this film, but like the second half is really strong.
The second half is wild. I forgot that the family like wanted to do this whole like haunted theme park deal. I'd completely forgotten about that. And when their case agent is like, you got to make sure you scare them. And they come up with these wild heads. I'm like, these people, you forced them to dance. You did some wild things and they were still in for it. Yeah. Like, you think this is going to scare them?
Yeah, we blew it. By the way, the dancing, incredibly iconic. I mean, anytime I ever see that on like YouTube or TV, I will stop what I'm doing and watch it. It is so good. Yeah, but their mask, well, I don't know if they're mask, but their haunting looks are so creepy, especially Gina Davis's look. I don't know. That one would really spook me.
Yeah, it's like they're like mutated birds almost, these heads. Like his head literally looks like a bird skull. Like that's just what it looks like.
Yeah.
And her head, it looks like she's like trying to eat somebody. And then you just look down and it's their like normal clothes.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's not going to work, guys. But so fun. And can I just say that the house that Catherine O'Hara transforms this place into is so beautiful. It is like my dream house. I'm just going to say that.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It definitely is not Barbara's dream house, but she does get to wear her dream wedding dress once again when Delia and her husband are being jackasses. But I thought, so I look at this and it's very 80s. This looks a lot like my mother's wedding gown.
Yeah, this is an 80s wedding dress.
This is an 80s wedding dress, and I just assumed like they made it for Geena Davis, but then Aggie talks to Elle about it. She says, like, it was getting close to filming, and she said, let's just buy the wedding dress for Geena Davis. So she went to Brenda's Bridal in DTLA, and she said, you know, I need to have a couple of wedding dresses made for Geena. She's really tall, and I don't really know what I want. Have you got any lookbooks of stuff that you make all the time? I wanted it to be outrageous and stupid. So she said, here's a book right here. I said, can I bring it back in the next couple of days? So she just took these lookbooks and just took them to Tim Burton and was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Just like a random 80s lookbook. But I'm like, you know what? That makes sense for Barbara because she's just like an average American woman. So yeah, she went to a bridal shop and bought something fairly generic because she loved it. Yeah, and it was the style at the time.
It wouldn't be something big and campy like all the other characters, you know, just be something that you found in a book. It's so 80s. It's giving me like a Dynasty a little bit, like big puffy shoulders, dramatic veil, the teased curly Barbara hair. It's just peak 80s.
It is peak 80s. And it's peak 80s. I feel like there were two different kinds of peak 80s. And this is just kind of like knowing for like what my mom wore and stuff. But there was like the peak 80s wedding dress with the huge puffy sleeves.
Yeah.
But there was like this like Victorian like romantic revival in the 80s as well, which I feel like is what Barbara has.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like big sleeves but lots of lace and demure and the long sleeves and the high neckline.
Yeah.
Not like the outrageous ball gown.
Right.
A lot of women wore at the time.
This is definitely a different kind of wedding dress we've seen on this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. And it gets even wilder. So, like I said, Aggie took the book to Tim Burton and asked which one he liked for Geena. After he picked one, he said, how about for Winona, we make her this same dress in red?
Wow.
So, clearly they ended up not going for the same exact dress, but he was just kind of like, yeah, let's just pick one of these as well and get it made in red for Winona.
That's crazy. The wedding dress store was like, okay, well, we don't have any red, but
but I guess. But I think that's so funny because like you assume all this work goes into every single one of these looks. And it's like two iconic looks where it's just like, no, we sent them to the bridal store. And Aggie really did send them to the bridal store. She told Elle, I sent Winona and Geena down to Brenda's to be measured. I didn't even go with them. These days, everyone treats actors so preciously, but I generally don't like to work on films that have a dresser for this star or a dresser for that star because it gets so fucked up. I just said, here's the address. Can you go down there and see this woman? I didn't want to go.
Oh, that is a weird quote.
She's just like, okay. I feel like she is just like no nonsense person.
Right.
Like, I feel like she just doesn't deal with like any sort of nonsense. And she was like, yeah, that's where they were getting their dresses made. That place needed their measurements. They just need to go down and get their measurements done.
Right. The costume designer is like, I don't want to go to your fitting.
Yeah.
Okay. It's an interesting choice, but.
Which, I mean, like, it also makes sense, though, because it's like she clearly wasn't making any alterations herself. She was like, yeah, just go.
Yeah. Let me know what's done.
Exactly. But she was, you know, for all her no nonsense, she was collaborative. She said to Elle, in the final scene of the film, Winona decides to wear her school outfit with that petticoat on underneath all by herself. That was her idea. I think she probably even brought that in herself. By the end of the movie, everyone in the production knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's like, oh yeah, that was Winona Ryder's idea.
Yeah, just by the end, everyone's like, okay, I understand what Tim Burton wants in this freaking nightmare.
This wild, wild movie.
It's so funny. Like Winona Ryder's character goes from that like very vibrant red in a wedding to like this very like muted kind of like schoolgirl look. Like, yeah, clearly this is like her peak goth moment, and she like snaps out of it a little bit. It's like, I'm gonna wear my petticoat, but that's about it.
Yeah. And it's like, I love her relationship with Barbara and Adam. He has such a generic freaking name in this movie. I can never remember it.
I know, it's hard.
I love her relationship with Barbara and Adam because she's the first person who could see them. And she's just like very respectful of them. And they become very like protected of her. They're like her second set of parents.
Yeah.
Who like care that she does well in school and cares that like, you know, she's not being taken advantage of by Beetlejuice. And like, yeah. It's kind of like insinuated at the beginning that like they might not be able to have kids. So it's like they kind of like adopt her and they're like, oh, we're gonna look after you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and this gives Catherine O'Hara's character to just, you know, be the crazy stepmom and work on her art.
Yeah, yeah.
It works out for everybody.
Yeah, and I feel like you can see that in that very last look. It's like, okay, she cares about school, but she's still going to be her, like, wild self.
Yeah. The only thing that makes me sad about the end is clearly, like, the deal was that the house gets to turn back into, like, its old self. I was like, no, don't ruin it.
I don't think so. I think they decided to, like, I think they split the house.
I was wondering that, too, because it does go, like, down the middle. But I just can't tell if it's like under construction or if they split it. I hope they split it.
I think they split it. I think like the upstairs is Adam and Barbara. And then I think the downstairs that was already done is for Delia and her husband.
Well, let's see. But before we end, Michael Keaton in that like very dramatic 70s or 80s Napoleon Dynamite suit.
the burgundy suit with all the frills on the shirt. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. Yeah.
The note for Beetlejuice, it's like, it's so bad it's perfect, you know.
It is. That's exactly what Beetlejuice is. It's so bad it's perfect. And I think, Spencer, it's been so long, but I think we need to play our favorite game.
I'm very excited. Hit it, Daniel.
The one costume to rule them all. Spencer, what was your one costume to rule them all?
Mine was easy this time. It is Delia Deetz's Glove to Look. I love that look. It is so cool. It's so edgy. It's so fashion forward, but still like 80s. It's just, I love this look. I could look at it forever and ever. I want to recreate this look, but might be a little crazy nowadays. But I don't know. I just feel like all of her looks in this film are so strong. I think the dinner table scene is also like my other one costume to rule them all. Anything that Catherine O'Hara wears in this film, like, that's my pick, you know?
I mean, that's fair. But gotta say, my one costume to rule them all is Beetlejuice's black and white striped suit. Everybody knows that look. It's iconic. And it's also, like, iconic Tim Burton. Like, you see that and you're like, oh, that's a Tim Burton character.
Yeah.
Like, through and through. And I also love that it's actually kind of like an easy Halloween costume. You see people being Beetlejuice a lot.
Yeah.
Because like it's not super difficult to put together.
No.
Some version of this.
And dare I say, I've never seen someone do Beetlejuice and I actually felt like it was really good, though. It's always scary.
No, it's always scary, but like, you know, that's kind of the point.
No, I think you made a good choice. That black and white is so iconic. So many people like kind of really tie Tim Burton to black and white, which really isn't his thing. He really does love color, but it's because of this suit and this film, that black and white color scheme, that people really like resonate with Tim Burton. It all came from this suit. So
absolutely.
Elizabeth, I am excited. It sounds like they finally are giving Beetlejuice 2 a go.
I know. I'm excited to see what they're going to do because I'm like, it didn't need a sequel.
No.
Like, it just didn't. But, like, I'm excited for what they're going to come up with.
I'm excited, too. I love that they're doing, like, the Hocus Pocus 2 model where they're like, okay, it has to have Michael Keaton and it has to have, like, at least Winona Ryder. And it has to be directed by Tim Burton. If everyone could come to terms with this, then we could do it. I'm glad it's not just like some random person doing a a Beetlejuice 2.
I know.
So I'm very excited.
I'm excited. If you're excited, you can let us know and leave us a very excited voicemail at 626-515-1826. We're not going to answer the phone. We don't like talking on the phone, so just leave a message. We'll never answer.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Art of Costume Pod. I check the Instagram about 250 times a day. Follow us on TikTok at the Art of Costume. And don't forget to head to our Patreon at patreon.com/the Art of Costume. Listen to all of our fun bonus episodes. We have a lot of great stuff on there. And finally, don't forget to go to the merch store and get yourself a hoodie. It is getting cold, hopefully, by the time this comes out, at theartofcostume.com/pod store.
Yes, please do. And if you liked this episode, if you want to support our podcast, but cannot do so financially, that is fine. If you could leave us a little 5-star text review on Apple Podcast, that would be extremely helpful and appreciated. Spencer, what are we watching next week?
Next week, we're watching a film that I somehow have still never seen.
Disappointment.
The Phantom of the Opera. I'm like really excited to see it because I've never seen it. Everyone talks about it all the time. I feel really left out. It's time.
I'm excited for you to see it. I watched it for the first time in like years the other day, and I love this movie, but I definitely feel like people romanticize it a lot. But then also, I'm like, the costume game is just on point in this film.
Ugh, I'm so excited. I mean, I know some of the music, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Spencer. Yeah. Everybody have a great week.
The Art of Costume Blogcast is hosted and produced by Elizabeth Joy Glass and Spencer Williams. Our audio engineering and editing is done by Dan White. Follow us on Instagram at The Art of Costume Pod or visit theartofcostumeblogcast.com for all Blogcast updates. If you want to support the show, go to theartofcostume.com/podstore. Or you can head over to patreon.com/theartofcostume for some bonus content. For more costume reviews, deep dives, and interviews, head over to theartofcostume.com, a blog dedicated to highlighting the best in costume design.
I'm still imagining like you and I in these wedding looks. That'd be so fun.
We need to do it. Oh my gosh. So like one of my goals for after we're done the bulk of our recording next week is I have a corpse bride that I need to finish. I want to finish my WandaVision dress. And then I'm like, I need to decide what to do next. I think I am going to do for this Halloween. I think I am gonna do one of the Angeline looks.
Oh, nice!
Just because it was the look I want to do in particular was so much fun.
The UFO look.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like I basically watch a show at this point because I listened to your interviews so many times and had to do like TikToks and whatnot. So
Good.
cut all that out,
Anyway.
Daniel.